All right, I just wanted to let everyone know we are just beginning our webinar here with Kendall SummerHawk. And Kendall, I thank you so much for being on this conversation with Practice Pay Solutions. This is Carol Vickers with Empower Consulting, and we facilitate these calls for Practice Pay Solutions on the Business Mastery series. And today we have a special guest. We have Kendall SummerHawk, who is the leading expert on women entrepreneurs and money. And she's the co-founder of the International Association of Women in Business Coaching. Kendall helps women increase their self-worth and their net worth by becoming a successful, thriving entrepreneur. Her marketing experience and training programs have helped thousands of women start and grow financially and spiritually rich businesses. She's the creator of numerous certified coach training programs, including the Money Breakthrough Method Coach Training Program, the Certified Money, Marketing, and Soul Coach Training Program, and the STARS Six-Figure Courageous Coaching Club. Kendall is the winner of numerous awards, including the 2011 and 2012 Stevie Awards for Female Entrepreneur of the Year, Mentor of the Year, and Women Helping Women. She's also been honored with the Be the Change Award and is an Enterprising Women honoree. She, as a master coach, speaker, author, and workshop leader, her work has touched the lives of thousands of women throughout the world. She happily leads a successful multi-seven-figure coaching company, delivering the message that making fabulous money is part of your spiritual path and giving you the mentoring and marketing tools you need to be financially successful, be an exciting, thriving business. And she loves spending time daily with her beloved husband and Andalusian horses. Kendall, thank you so much for sharing your brilliance with us today. And I would just like to ask you a question, if we could start that off, if that would be all right.
Yes, we can jump right in. I was smiling as you were introducing me because I just came in from riding one of my horses, actually.
Oh, did you? Oh, how
yeah,
wonderful.
It's beautiful here today. And yeah, so it's really, I gave my husband a kiss, came in from riding, gave my husband a kiss, and popped on the call. So what you read in the bio is all true.
Awesome. That's wonderful. You are living that life. Now that you've been recognized as a leading expert on women entrepreneurs and money, tell me, what's different for women now compared to even just a few years ago?
I think a lot is actually quite different. For one thing, more women are starting businesses than ever before. I think women's started businesses are actually outpacing male started businesses at this point. And in fact, Forbes magazine, I love this quote. They called entrepreneurship the new women's movement. Doesn't that sound wonderful? I just love that. And I also read that there's nearly 10 million small business jobs that are expected to be created in the next 5 years or so, and they're expecting women to create more than half of those through their businesses. So I think these are some extraordinary statistics when you hear them, and just I think it's encouraging for all of our listeners who are here with us live today or listening to this recording to know that you're not alone as a woman business owner. And I know we have guys on the line too, but my business, I really focus on helping women become successful in their business. And I think that what these numbers indicate is that there's a tremendous opportunity for women to be visible and to be financially successful. But it also means that we women are having to face challenges regarding money that are in many ways very, very new for us.
Well, what's an example of what these challenges are?
Sure. Let's talk about this because, I've been coaching women entrepreneurs to go from startup to six figures and multi-six figures and even seven-figure businesses I've been in business now for over 12 years. And I see that there are three challenges that women face regarding money that are significant and really can make the difference between a woman entrepreneur struggling versus fulfilling her dream and her passion of making an impact and making fabulous money. And I just want everybody to understand, when you hear my introduction, you hear my bio, or you look at my business, my business is a mature business. And I've done an intense amount of personal development work and with myself and had that the impact of that personal development work really flow through and show up in my business in a big way. And I think that, people, they'd love to hear the tips and the information I'm sharing, like here today with you, but, they look at my business and they think that I never have a doubt or a fear, or that I never have any challenges with money. And that's just simply not true. And I think that's what keeps me so engaged and makes me so excited to be here on a call like this with you today, because I have been there. I know what that fear feels like, and it still comes up for me, even though we now just finished out. I always have to stop and add it up with my fingers. We just finished out our 4th year in a row as being a $1 million business, and either a 4th or a 5th, I'm losing count, and I think it's our 4th year in a row of being a multi-million-dollar business. And yet, I still am faced with very similar challenges. So let's go to what these 3 challenges are.
Sure.
I think it's easiest to think about them in terms of categories. There's emotional challenges, there are practical money management types of challenges, and then there are spiritual challenges. And if it's okay with you, I'd like to say just a little bit about each one.
Thank you.
So,
please.
Okay, let's start with the emotional category first, because for women, this is what it's all about for us. It's not about just numbers, it's about how we feel about those numbers. And I think that women often feel really guilty about wanting to make more money. They mistakenly often think that if they're making money, that it's taking something away from someone else. Another big issue in the emotional category is feeling unconfident or fearful about asking for money. And I see this all the time with women entrepreneurs. It shows up in not asking for a sale. It shows up in letting potential clients take as long as they want to take to make a yes, decision to hire a woman entrepreneur. It shows up as offering discounts. I hear from people who offer the discount even before the potential client has asked for one. They jump into their fear and start discounting themselves all over the place. And it's funny too, because I'll hear from clients, they'll say, oh, I got a new client, and I'll say, great, and that's wonderful. How did they find you? Which package did they sign up for with you? What is the fee that you charge them? And it turns out, and then I always ask, did you collect the deposit? And it blows my mind, because so many times they either haven't even collected the deposit, so there's been no payment taken, or they said, well, they said they wanted to hire me, but I didn't tell them how much it was going to be. It's like, well, how can they hire you if they don't know how much they're investing with you? So these are some of the ways where there's some emotional challenges happening for a woman entrepreneur, that is going to show up for them in their business. And I think one more I want to add to this list, because I see this one a lot, is women feeling a lot of fear that their clients can't afford to pay more. So then the entrepreneur often they undercharge, they over-deliver, they're going forward on some assumptions that are not accurate. Now, one of the tips here to overcome these types of common emotional challenges is to have really specific strategies that you can use, especially when you're talking with a potential client about your services and about what you charge. For example, knowing how and even when to answer the question, so what do you charge? Or knowing what to say if you're asked to discount your services, which, by the way, don't do it. For most women, having a proven strategy, a real practical action that they can take and rely on, it really boosts their confidence, and it'll keep you from slipping down that slippery slope of emotional doubts and fears about money. Mm-hmm. Should we talk about the practical area?
That was my next question.
Okay.
Yes,
yeah, I get all supercharged on the emotional piece, because I know that that's such a big thing for women. It's a part I love to dive into. Okay, let's talk about the practical area, because there's some money habits that women can take action on to increase their profitability. It's really interesting, because as a woman starts to make more money and starts to become more confident with how she's handling money in her business, then she attracts bigger and better clients. And as she attracts bigger and better clients, she's making more money. So it's a really fascinating flow that happens that really builds beautifully on itself. So let's go to the practical piece here. Now, I want to be really upfront and make sure everybody understands I am not a financial planner. I'm not a banker. I'm not an accountant or an attorney. I'm not any of those official things. And I think it's important to understand this because I'm very well known, quite famous actually, for creating, dozens and dozens of very practical action steps that a woman can take in regards to how she handles money, both personally and professionally in her business. And I've come to this through my own experience. It's just the way my brain works. And it's kind of cute, Carol, because I've had some people question me saying, well, some of your methods aren't statistically accurate. And I go, that is true. They are not statistically accurate. And I always tease and say, this is Kendall math. And Kendall math has helped me build a multi-million-dollar business that, like I said, is not just a flash in the pan. We've been at this level, we grow every year for many, many years, and I've helped just hundreds and hundreds of clients through our programs, have similar success in whatever form that looks like for themselves. So that's why I laugh and say it's Kendall math, and Kendall math works pretty well. So let's go back to these practical tips, okay? So I would say that after coaching thousands of women on money, that at every level, no matter where a woman is in her income, whether she's below 6 figures, she's at 6 figures, maybe she's at high 6 figures, there's still a lot of worry and fear that they're not going to make enough money. This is a really common fear I hear from women. Sometimes people call it the bag lady syndrome. And so they use this fear to drive themselves and to engage in a lot of habits and behavior that's very stressful and that actually most of the time does not help them make more money. It actually does the opposite. It keeps them really stuck at a very low income level. And here's why, because the fear of not having enough money sets up a cycle of making just enough to get by. This is what happens for most of the women that I've encountered in my years of coaching. They make just enough to get by, whatever that is for them, whatever getting by represents. For some people, it's a few $1,000s a month. For others, it's more. Their expenses are higher, but it's still at a level of just getting by. And of course, when you think about it, it makes sense that if you're always kind of hovering at this, just getting by, like maybe one month you have a little extra, the next month you have less than you need, it of course enforces the idea that there may not be enough month to month. So one of the most powerful shifts that I made in my business early on, because I was in that same boat, and I couldn't stand it. It was making me crazy. I said, this is nuts. I'm not willing to put up with this. And so I figured out, I did a lot of different things actually, and all of them were really simple. And I want to share one or two of them with you here today. So one of the powerful shifts that I made when I was just under 6 figures was I started tracking every penny that came in. I started tracking my income. And I did this to the penny every single day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out. And it created such a phenomenal and dramatic increase in my income. And even more importantly, in my profitability, which is, by the way, you guys, profitability is how much money you get to keep. Okay, your business needs to not only make money, it needs to have profits so that you get to put that extra in your bank account. So within months of starting this, I had significantly reduced that up and down roller coaster of income month to month, and by the end of 1 year had really seen a dramatic increase in my income. So I think that's one of the simple steps I would recommend doing. And there's lots of little guidelines around this, but just to keep this really simple here today, you're tracking every penny coming in, no matter where it came in from. So everything from client payments to maybe you get commission checks or to insurance reimbursements or interest income, everything. I even laugh, my husband loves to fill out the rebate card from Ace Hardware. He'll go buy batteries and you get $2 back on rebate. He'll fill out that card and send it in, and that $2 check comes in and I mark it down in my tracking sheet. So that when I say everything, I do mean everything. Right. What you track expands. So if you're not tracking your income daily, this is one of the first actions that I recommend taking. And another one, I'm just going to kind of roll here for a minute if that's okay, Carol.
Please do. Yes, okay. Absolutely.
Okay. So another step, and by the way, when I started doing that, I started then playing a game as to how many days each month I could have income coming in. It's a great game to play because, you know, over time you have money coming in every single month. And by the way, this is not esoteric, it's not law of attraction, it's compatible with law of attraction, but this is not just, I'm going to sit and watch my tracking sheet and not do anything and expect money to come in. That isn't the way this works. What happens is by having this tracking sheet in front of you, and mine lives on my desk. I'm looking at it right now. It sits in the top right hand corner of my desk. I have years of these, you know, going back for years since I've been doing this. What it does is it brings you into awareness and puts your focus on how much money is coming in, when are you expecting more, what are the activities you're engaging in on a daily basis to start having more money flow in. So it has a very practical power for you to start implementing more in your business. Let's go on to another quick little tip here, and that's to start requiring non-refundable deposits. I started requiring non-refundable deposits for people coming into my programs, for people coming into one-on-one coaching. This alone increased my cash flow dramatically, and it gave me confidence that I wouldn't lose a client, and it also served to motivate my new clients in a positive way to really get into action very quickly. So that's another specific action step I would give you.
Yeah.
And I think if I go on.
People then. Sorry.
What's that?
Your people are then committed.
They're super committed. And it's real for them. You know, it makes it real. It's like, we're engaged here. You know, you've invested with me, we're engaged, and let's get going. I want to share a third tip too that it was really simple, and I just made it up years ago, and it turned out to be this amazingly powerful thing. And it's what you want to do is you want to set up a minimum amount that you won't let your bank balance fall below. And what I call this is your warrior line. This is your warrior line. So for example, let's say that you, because a lot of people do this, they rely on their overdraft protection to cover some of their bills because their bank balance falls below zero or it falls low enough that there's not enough money in there to cover a check. So, you know, having that happen occasionally throughout the month. So you don't want that to happen for a number of different reasons. Energetically, it's not good. It does not make somebody feel confident. It keeps them on the edge of fear at all times. It creates bank fees. It doesn't help your credit. You know, just running things to the wire like that is a really non-effective and disempowering way to be in relationship with money, period, much less with your business. So what you want to do, let's say you could even start with a warrior line of $500. So what that represents is that $500 becomes the amount that you will never let your balance dip below. Now this way you can stop using the overdraft protection, you can stop paying those bank fees, and you can stop feeling all of the guilt and the shame or the sense of failure that often comes up by having problems with money, with not having enough money. Now, it might take a couple of months to get enough money into your account and keep it there. That's okay. When I started this with myself, I think my warrior line was $2,000, I think it was. And so, you know, it took 2 or 3 months to really, by focusing on it, to really make it happen. You know, it dipped below that, and I was like, okay, what do I need to do differently to make this, you know, jump back up there? And now my warrior line is, you know, it's 10 times that. I mean, I run a much bigger business, but the philosophy is still the same. And the thing that I have found that's really extraordinary about this one technique is that you're putting yourself in control of your money. You're controlling your money instead of being a victim to circumstance and a victim to things happening to you. And it's going to cause you to make different spending decisions and decisions about how much you make that are going to really cause you to leap your income forward. That's why I love the warrior line, and I've used it for years. And like I said, as your business grows, you just increase your warrior line because your expenses do increase. But it's easy at that point because you've shifted your mindset and you've shifted your actions that you know you can take.
Right. Kendall, these are fabulous. Do you have them written down so that they're available for us to share?
I have a really cool checklist that I would love to share with everybody. I think it's just even one page. It's real pretty, and it is level by level. When you think about where you are with your business, there's basically 3 levels. There's getting started, there's gaining momentum, and there's creating leverage. And there's some levels above that, but those are the 3 levels where most that most entrepreneurs fall into. And within each of those levels, those categories, there are specific money actions that are both practical and emotional and mindset and spiritually oriented. And I've listed them out. I think there's like 10 or 15 per level. So I would love to give a link to download that one-page checklist. It's awesome because it's, you can pretty much have an idea of where you are with your business, and you can just look at that checklist and say, okay, what's on this checklist that I haven't done yet or that I didn't even think about? So the link for that, I'll go ahead and give that to you now. It's tinyurl.com/money checklist. Pretty simple. So I'll say it again. It's tinyurl.com/money checklist. And you'll see a page there, just a simple screen. Just put your name and your email address, and you'll get that bonus checklist. And it's titled, How to Take the Overwhelm Out of Increasing Your Income Step by Step for each phase of your business growth.
Wonderful. And I will share that with the audience as well, so they've got the hyperlink for it, so they can just get right to it.
Great.
Kendall, you mentioned 3 categories: emotional, practical, and there's a third one. Tell me what that is.
It's spiritual. Spirituality is so important to women across the planet these days, and it relates directly to money. Women often feel very divided. They feel divided between being spiritual, and I'm not talking about being religious, although religion can be spiritual. Each of us defines spirituality a little differently, but it's really basically, for me, I look at it as our connection to God, to source energy, to the divine. So most women I talk to feel a great sense of division between that connection to divine source energy and making fabulous money. Because of that conflict, they often feel that they have to choose. Well, I can either be spiritual and be a good person, or I can make fabulous income and be greedy or pull one over on people or take things from people or whatever it is that people tell themselves. And I look at this very, very differently. I don't have that conflict. I actually look at making fabulous money as part of my spiritual path, as part of yours, as part of everybody here with us today. It's making fabulous money is absolutely part of your spiritual path. And very briefly, I'll just share where I'm coming from with this concept. Yes, because when somebody is divided, they have that sense of divisiveness, and then they're going to be in a lot of turmoil. They're going to be negotiating with themselves all the time, and they're going to end up talking themselves out of making money. Because for most women, if they feel like they have to choose between one or the other, they're going to choose being spiritual. They're not going to say, oh yeah, I'm going to give up being a good person and go be a yucky, bad, greedy person. Most people are not going to do that. And so I look at it as a unified whole. Making fabulous money is part of your spiritual path. And very quickly, the reason is because spirituality is about being integrated. It's about being aligned. It is about being authentic. And it is about being in integrity with ourselves and with God. And so it makes sense then, just from a logical perspective, that if we are feeling divisiveness, if we are feeling this conflict, we are not in harmony. So when we look at how we can integrate our sense of spirituality with money and use money to help further our willingness and to help further our courage to take actions and do things in ways we would not do otherwise, that's when money has the opportunity to help us further our spiritual path. Very quick example. Let's say that, because I hear this one a lot, women will say, I really want to grow my business. Like, okay, great. How many clients do you have right now? Well, I have about 5 clients. Okay. So are you doing any speaking? And they'll say, no. So they're not getting out there. They're hiding out. They're not being visible, which is why they only have 5 clients. They're not making decisions about their niche, or they're not charging enough. They're not doing a lot of the things that one must do in order to be successful in business. And the reason they're not doing them is because they are afraid. In some way, shape, or form, they are telling themselves some story that prevents them from taking those very simple, practical actions to be more visible, to get out there, to be strong and clear and impactful in their message, to charge appropriate fees. And by healing, by looking at those fears and those misshapen beliefs that they've picked up from childhood and examining those and really transforming those, which can be done extremely quickly. This doesn't need years of therapy. It can be done really quite rapidly. By doing that, now this woman entrepreneur is able to show up in the world in a much bigger, more impactful way. So instead of having 5 clients, she might have 50 or 100 or 500. You know, we have hundreds of clients in our different programs. And so the level of fulfillment of my sense of purpose and passion is extraordinary compared to where it was 5 years ago when we didn't have this size of a business. You know, and so that's why I really believe making fabulous money is part of your spiritual path. Use it as a device. Use it as a way to help you move forward powerfully and move through those fears rather than staying stuck.
Wonderful.
I said I was going to make that answer short, and I didn't, but
I
get on a soapbox about it, as you can tell.
Yeah, it addresses our conflicts. That's absolutely wonderful. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about 6 figures. It's one of those magical numbers that, you know, it's around and we think, oh, 6 figures, if I could get there. Why do you think this is a milestone for women entrepreneurs and we should all achieve it?
Yeah, I really think people need to aim for 6 figures. And I believe in this so strongly that actually my mom, her name is Kyla, she has her own business. She's always worked for herself, and she also is one of our team coaches in our business. And I told her a year ago, I said, you have to be at 6 figures. You know, you have to be at 6 figures. And I mean, so just to let you guys know, that's how strongly I feel about it. I went to my mom and said, you have to be at 6 figures. And she, you know, this apple does not fall far from the tree. She has a lot of courage, and she's very willing. And she said, okay. She said yes to it. And by golly, she told me yesterday she did, I think it was $104,000 or $107,000 this last year, working part-time, by the way. She does not have a big internet business. That's not who she is. So I think that's pretty extraordinary. So let's go back to it. So the thing that's fascinating about 6 figures and why there's a lot of mystique around it and why I focus on it so much is that there's approximately 6% of individuals, you know, in other words, not households, but just individuals in the U.S. that make 6 figures. And I think it's about 10% of households. Yet in my world, with my clients, we see between 25 and 35% making 6 figures in a very short period of time, really short period of time, and then they move up from there. And 6 figures is a magical number because for a woman, it represents financial independence and achievements, plain and simple. You know, this is the first time, I want everybody to really recognize something here that I realized about a year ago, that this is the first time in our entire history of our planet, not our country, of the planet, that women have had the opportunity and the advantages to make this kind of income for themselves. We have never had this before. I want you to really think about it. Women in the U.S., in terms of the right to vote, it's been less than 100 years that we've had the right to vote. Isn't that extraordinary to think about? Less than 100 years. I think it was 1920 that we finally got the right to vote. And so it makes sense that women are struggling to find their way with being financially powerful, personally and professionally powerful, and yet to do it in a feminine way, not a masculine way. And I really believe that the only way that we can be powerful is to understand our femininity, to embrace it, and to live it fully without apology, and to give it all of the strength that we as women have. I mean, women are amazing. And creating financial independence is a critical step in, I believe, in embracing our feminine strength in this way. The 6 figures is also a critical income to achieve because it really causes a woman to make important and empowering shifts in her mindset and in her beliefs. It's really difficult to create this type of income from an old paradigm or an old limited mindset. You know, I see it all the time. I saw it with myself. It's really difficult. And because the old paradigm, old mindset keeps you usually at the same income you have at a job. I mean, that's really where it's what it's programmed to keep you up. So 6 figures causes you to think differently about yourself, to look at your business differently, to challenge some of those old beliefs that have been holding you back. And I think this is really exciting because it means that by focusing on the income, You're giving yourself permission to leap into your potential. To leap into your potential. I mean, how exciting is that? And to heal old limiting beliefs that you picked up from your past, and to really blossom into the woman that you're meant to be. So let me give you a really quick example here. One of the shifts that I had to make when I was at super frustrating 5 figures, like 50, 60,000 a year, really frustrated there, into 6 figures, one of the shifts I had to make was that it was okay for me to make more than my husband, or to make more than a man. I didn't realize that that was holding me back, and when I did realize it, I went, okay, this is not okay with me. I've got to do something about that. So it was a really big deal for me. And by freeing myself in that way, I opened up my creativity to produce, you listed all those training courses. I have to be honest with you, that's only half of what I've created. I freed up my creativity to really produce some amazing training programs, amazing certification programs. And when I decided to become a 7-figure entrepreneur, because nobody told me to do that, I just decided I wanted to be $1 million business owner. Scared the living daylights out of me, but I decided that's what I wanted to do. I had to make another set of shifts. I had to make quite a few of them, and I had to really release old paradigms, particularly one that to make more money, that you have to work really hard, which is a paradigm that a lot of men and women hold to be true, and it's simply not true. Because the truth is, it's actually easier to make more money than it is to make less. It's really true. And I know sometimes people want to just reach to the phone and slap me when I say that. They're like, oh, it's easy for you to say. Honestly, it's true. It's easier to make more money than it is to make less. I'm here to tell you. So when I shifted that mindset, I took my business into 7 figures, and the next year multiple 7 figures, and we increased between 25 and 50% every single year. I looked at my rough numbers just the other day for the whole year, and I don't have the final reports from my bookkeeper yet, but we increased last year by 25%. And when you're at the multi-million-dollar mark, it's a lot. That's a lot. It's hundreds of thousands of dollars. So anyway, I'll stop there. But that's why 6 figures is such a magical number, and why I think every woman entrepreneur should strive to achieve it. And if my mom can do it, come on. I mean, my mom would say, hey, seriously.
So just a comment, Kendall, just someone mentioned that it was a little bit difficult to hear you, and I think it's just you're moving in a little bit away from your mic.
Okay, is that a little bit better?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Okay, great. I'm going to turn my volume up, too. Hang on.
Okay, great.
There we go. Great.
So, tell us what a spiritual money agreement is, and how can we use it to help make that 6-figure income, or add 6 figures to our income?
Sure. Your spiritual money agreement is the agreement, I think the best way to look at it is that it's the agreement you have with yourself and money and God. That's how I look at it. And what it's taken from is a really exciting body of work that I've created called your Sacred Money Archetypes. There are 8 archetypes altogether, and they're just really, really exciting. And there's an assessment that tells you what your archetype is. And I think the easiest way to look at it is that your spiritual money agreement is it's basically one sentence that defines both the practical side of your relationship with money and also the spiritual side. It's really both. And what you want to keep in mind is this. When you're in harmony and you're honoring your sacred money agreement, then you're going to see how easily you can make more money and how you can easily keep more. Because a lot of women make more money. We've helped enough women make fabulous money that I've seen quite a disturbing trend, actually. And that disturbing trend is that they make more, but they don't have more money. It's like every dollar in is a dollar out.
Right.
And I'm here to break that pattern for people, because you want a dollar in, you want to keep some of that. That's the whole point here. So with your sacred money agreement, you'll see how it's easy to make more, keep more, and yes, be able to spend more, because you can trust yourself with money, and you can trust others, and you're eliminating the conflict and the inner negotiations that often take place that cause you to give up your power with money. And you're going to feel integrated and in integrity with yourself and with your finances. And it's when someone is not in integrity with their spiritual money agreement, that's when a lot of money issues start showing up. They create debt for the wrong reasons. They give money away to people or loan money to family members when they don't have enough to cover their own bills first. They discount their services. They undercharge. They reduce their fees. They don't ask for the sale. They don't collect the deposit. All of this kind of behavior stems from a lack of not knowing what your sacred money agreement is, and a lack of being in integrity or in harmony with it. So a very quick example, with the sacred money archetype system, this is probably not going to be a surprise for anybody, but when I took my own assessment, that I designed, my top money archetypes are the ruler, the maverick, and the accumulator. So I'm all about creating an empire and helping people really transform their relationship with money. And I'm really into saving money. I'm a big saver, and I love to help people, show them how to get out of debt. It's actually a very simple process to get out of debt, and then how to start saving money and having more money to invest. So my spiritual money agreement as the ruler, which is my main money archetype, is to innovate, achieve, and empower wealth with grace and ease. So each of these archetypes has their own sacred money agreement, and they have both a piece that's easy in them and a piece that's a stretch or a challenge. They all are, even that one I just named for me as the ruler has a stretch piece in there for me. So that's how they're all designed.
Could you say that again for us?
Sure. Which mine is?
Yes.
It's to innovate, achieve, and empower wealth with grace and ease. And I'll be perfectly candid, it's the grace and ease part that's the stretch or the challenge, because as the ruler, achieving and empowering wealth comes naturally for me. However, the grace and ease, I've had to, like I talked earlier about, breaking through that paradigm of to make more you have to work hard. That's the piece for me that's always a stretch, and maintaining that integrity around my lifestyle choices of spending time with my husband and my horses. So I pay a lot of attention to it, but that part doesn't come as naturally. Right. So each of these has their own, and it's a fascinating illumination for people when they take the assessment and they go, oh my God, this explains so much of why I've struggled or been in conflict or had these kinds of situations happen.
Yes, and then to see the stretch piece, what would it be if you were really there? Yes, wonderful.
And with the sacred money archetypes, there's lists of, there's money challenges and money gifts and lists of typical behavior and empowering action words. I mean, it's a whole system, it's a whole body of work around it, and I'm just sharing the spiritual money agreement piece here today with you.
Thank you. I have a couple of questions from the audience, but first of all, I just wondered if there's a final tip you'd like to share.
Gosh, as you can tell, I could share probably 20 tips.
We might have time for one or two.
Yeah, I get supercharged on this topic. I would say the final tip is to look at how much money that you need to have coming in month to month to cover all of your expenses. Kailash, my mom and I were just talking about this yesterday. A lot of women just look at how much money their business needs, but they don't look at how much they also need to pay themselves. And we were kind of laughing because it's like having a deadbeat relative staying with you or something. Your business needs to pay for itself, and it needs to support you. That's what a business needs to do. So I would say, as a quick tip here, is to add up and be very clear about your numbers so that you're not in denial about your numbers. Be very clear, how much money do you need to have coming in with a little bit of cushion in there so you're not running it to the wire. And then I want you to, whatever that amount is on an annual, just, come up with the annual amount. And then I want you to double it. And use that as a focal point to start saying to yourself, okay, so what would I need to shift? What would I need to do differently to generate twice the amount of money? And notice what comes up for you emotionally, where there's resistances or doubts or fears, what practical habits and actions may need to change. where you have to be in alignment with the fact that it's okay to make that kind of money. And if that number doesn't trigger a person anyway, then double it again.
Right. Okay, yeah. Keep going until it is a stretch.
Exactly, that's the point. Because people say, oh, that's no big deal. It's like, yeah, okay, I can play that game. Then let's make it a bigger number. Because at some point, everybody will get to a number where they go, oh, golly. Okay.
Yep, I agree. Okay. Let's take some questions, shall we?
Okay.
All right. The first one is from Gwen. And she says, how do I get started with speaking gigs? I've only done one speaking gig on my book topic. What can I do?
Okay. An easy way to get started with speaking gigs is to, I would make a list. There's both in-person speaking and there's teleseminar speaking. So if you live in an area that's, relatively easy to get going, I would get a newspaper or look online. I don't know when your book topic is, but I would look for listings of all the different business groups, networking groups. There are so many associations that have monthly group meetings. I mean, you can keep yourself busy speaking forever to these groups. And they typically run between 15 and 30 people in attendance each time. And you would contact them and you ask for the speaker coordinator. They have somebody, typically a volunteer each year, who is in charge of putting together their programs. And you just introduce yourself and you tell them that you speak on the topic of such and such. Don't go into a long, big, let me prove to you I'm worth listening to speech. Just say, here's my name. I speak on the topic of X, and I'm calling to find out if that topic may be of interest to your audience. And that's it. They'll tell you yes or no. Even if it's a no, you can ask them who else they may know in another group. Because a lot of people, particularly people who are on a board or volunteering to help with a group, they're in lots of groups. They tend to be in lots of other groups, and they're pretty well networked. So you can ask them yes or either way, yes or no, ask them for a referral as well. And honestly, with just a tiny little bit of effort, you can start speaking 2 to 4 times a month, and I would highly recommend setting that as a goal and really work on getting awesome at it, and use the speaking to build your list. I could talk about this topic a lot, but it's basically when you're speaking, the number one thing you want to do is to build your list from everybody in that audience, get them onto your list. Don't try and sell them things. They're not going to let you sell from anyway. But you can collect names. There's a whole little system to doing this, but you can collect names and get them into your list, into your database.
Right. Excellent idea. Diane has asked if she put her hand up to see if she can ask her question herself. Diane, I'm just going to unmute your mic so that you can go ahead. Okay, Diane, you're live.
Oops, is she there?
I don't know. Diane, are you still with us? Maybe not. Maybe she'll type
Maybe
again.
Not. Okay.
Another question is from Elizabeth. She says, what tools do you use to really shift and transform limiting beliefs? And she says she loves the call.
Oh, thank you. What I use is so astonishingly simple. It's this. You want to be clear what the old belief is. And then in a nutshell, what you want to do is be clear as to what you want the new belief to be. And write it down so you can really see it. And it may not feel natural at first. It's new. Your brain hasn't gotten itself organized around it, so it may not feel wholly authentic right in the beginning. But then what you do is you just start acting as if that new belief were true. So quick example, one of the things that I did very early, when I was right around 6 figures, maybe 110,000, something like that, and that's when I decided, at that dollar amount, is when I decided I wanted to be $1 million business owner. I remember the day. I remember just saying, that's what I want. And then the next moment I thought, oh my God, how am I going to do that? And I decided in that moment to start acting as if I was a $1 million business owner.
Right.
I'm just going to act as if, which in essence is the same system I'm sharing with you, Elizabeth. So I started doing everything, like how would a $1 million business owner handle her email? How would she handle her scheduling? What kind of places would she speak at? All these different things. I just applied that mindset to everything, every day. And there were days, I'll be honest with you, where I felt like the farthest thing from $1 million business owner, really. I mean, I remember like packaging something up and taking it to the post office myself type of thing, thinking, would $1 million business owner do this? No. So, and the days when I wanted to cry when things weren't going well. But I just stuck to it. I really stuck to it. And I will tell you that year, that first year of applying that mindset, I went from very low six figures to, I always forget if it's 564,000 or 584. I think it was 564,000. So I went from 110,000 to $564,000 in 1 year. It was astonishing. And the next year broke into seven figures.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That is such great news.
Yeah. So that's my system.
Great. Thank you so much. Another question is from Renee, and she says, is your system taken from any other person's materials? So many people promoting alchemy. She's just wondering.
Oh, no. This is divinely downloaded. I didn't create the concept of archetypes. They've been around archetypes stem from mythology. Mythology is steeped in archetypes. Archetypes are so impactful. I'm getting goosebumps actually talking about it. They're so impactful because they tap into a fundamental human way our brains work and our spirit works together, of how we look for heroes, we look for alchemists, we look for warriors, we look for rulers, we look for mavericks. We look for these types of clearly defined personalities in our world. It's our very basic human nature. Right. So there's lots of archetypal work out there. I mean, Carl Jung, obviously, with Jungian psychology, which I'm not trained in. It's okay. And I think he worked primarily with 6 archetypes. So there's lots of them out there. And I've always been a student of mythology and human nature and money. Money's been very always been fascinating for me. So when I started, I just literally had a divine download about money and the archetypes, I think it was like probably 7 or 8 years ago, and created a system then and then redid this system this last year. And the assessment is astonishingly accurate. And there's some archetypes in there, the accumulator, there's another one I call the celebrity. So there's some archetypes in there you probably won't even see in other people's system. And anyway, so yeah, no, this is all original work. That's one of the things that I'm known for, is my originality. Yeah.
Great. And Renee just commented that she understands about divine download. So thank you so much for clarification on that.
Yeah.
Elaine just had a comment, and I think it's worth sharing. She said she wanted to thank you for all that you do and the work that you've done, for her personally in the last 4 years. And money archetypes, her top 3 archetypes last year were connector, nurturer, and her last one was maverick. And that she applied the info that you have imparted and redid her archetype profile. And she now has boundaries and will follow up. Maverick is the 3rd archetype now. So just wanted to thank you so much. She said that, her bold money goal was met, and in 1 month made $10,000 with a VIP day. So thank you very much.
That is so awesome. We want to get you as a testimonial on our site and get you some exposure that way. That's fabulous. Oh, I'm just beaming. I'm so happy to hear that. What were they again? The top one was connector, and what was the second one?
Let me just read it again. It was connector, nurturer, and and maverick.
Yeah,
so,
that's great.
Nice.
Yeah, so the boundaries is super important, and Elaine knows that. Connector and nurture together, boundaries are going to be a little more challenging than for some of the other archetypes. Yeah, cool. Elaine, I'm really happy for you.
Another question here, just moving from pain to power was all that was written, and I'm not sure whether GW would like to put their hand up and give me more information on that one. Doesn't sound like a question, perhaps a comment, but I can see that. And Elaine says she will see you in April, and we'll do that.
Yay! She's coming to our LEAP.
Oh, that's event. Wonderful.
All of you are welcome to take a look at that. It's leaplive.com. Yeah, wonderful. That's great.
Okay, just going to get a question here from Gwyn. Looks like she's raised her hand. 1 sec. I'm just going to unmute your mic, Gwyn, if you'd like to go ahead.
Oh, hi. Hello, Kendall. You guys are both wonderful with this information. I just wrote down, the name of the book is Moving from Pain to Power, so I just put that in because, Kendall, you had mentioned that you didn't know the name of my book. Or the
Oh, okay, great.
Oh, right.
Moving from Pain to Power. What's your subtitle, Gwen?
It's a strategic, I just changed it, a strategy for taking effective actions.
Okay. Okay. So when you're speaking, and you might want to check out my Boost Your Biz program. It's the URL is boostyourbiznaw.com, and that's B-I-Z, boost your biz, B-I-Z now.com, because I go through there in detail how to get speaking and how to arrange. I give you a 30-day marketing calendar, day by day, what to do in 30 minutes per day to boost your biz. It's more than just speaking, but there's a pretty fairly heavy emphasis there. And I would say for you with your book title, because it's kind of a general title, it's not specific, I would encourage you to look at applying it to very specific audiences. So it isn't just how, strategies for being more productive or what I'm blanking on what you said, but really how that particular audience can be more productive.
Well, like you were saying to me about the download, I wrote this book in 8 hours and 45 minutes. I wasn't even trying to. I was writing in my journal. And then the verbiage started changing from me talking about me to me talking to women. So it's about, just low self-esteem, low energy, and just empowerment. And it goes into a spiritual side about how to take care of yourself. And
that's great. I know we're going to have to move on to some other questions, but I still want just really pay attention to this, okay? If it sounds great, and you've got a very clear idea of how it helps people, you're very clear on that, and what you'll want to do to have this thing take off is, this is true for everybody on the call, is that you can't make your audience think too hard of how to apply your information to them. Let me say that again. You can't make your audience think too hard about how to apply your information to them. They don't want to think. They're busy thinking about other stuff, particularly women, because the way our brains are wired and the way our lives are, we're thinking about 5 billion things at once, right? So you would really want to, with the whole thing about low self-esteem and all that, pick an audience or two to really focus on, or do a bunch of presentations, like take the next 90 days and do, I don't know, I'd love to have you do 10, if not 15 or more presentations in the next 90 days, and really use that to get honed in on what kind of woman is resonating the most with your work, so you can start specializing. Because when you start specializing in a particular audience, not just women, that's not a specialty, that's half the population on the planet. When you start specializing in a more particular way, that's when things are going to pop for you, and you'll be able to charge more.
Wonderful. Thank you, Gwen.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Do we have another question here?
I do. It's from Pamela. Where can we find your Sacred Money Archetype book?
It's actually not a book.
Oh, okay.
What you can do is, here's what I would recommend. I would recommend going and downloading that checklist, and I'll give you the URL here again in a second. Download that checklist. That'll get you into my world. I'll tell you what I'm doing here. You guys are the first outside of a workshop I did last year to hear this. So I am known for creating certification programs and helping people, give people marketable content. See, most people are out there trying to market their services, particularly coaches, and they're not marketing something that's really marketable, where it makes it easy for people to say yes to them and hiring them. So because I am so prolific and creative in this, we've created a number of different training programs where we certify you in my content, and you are certified to go forward and use the logo and the name and the assessment and all the content and the exercises. I mean, with the Sacred Money Archetypes, we actually have 8 cards. There's one card, full 8.5 by 11, beautifully designed cards per archetype. And so we're coming out. We're just about to open up. Where are we? It's going to happen in about 30 days, where we will be opening up the opportunity for you to become certified as in the Sacred Money Archetypes work. And you can either build a whole business out of that or add it to your existing business. I will tell you that when I came out with it just in a fairly small way at my big workshop last October, and Elaine was there, people went bananas for it. It was really incredible and very powerful. And this is something we know can help you not only personally, but also that you can turn around and help your clients with your existing clients, and then to use to generate new business and generate income for you. And we give it to you as a complete business in a box. So get on my list, and you'll then be able to hear about this early on, because there are some incentives for coming into that training early on. And it will be a teleseminar-based training. I do all the training myself, and it's all live calls, and it's phenomenal. Okay?
Wonderful. Thank you. That is great. And I just want to acknowledge that I had put the wrong link for Boost Your Biz Now. I missed that part, so I'm just correcting that so everybody can get to that.
Oh, and let me repeat that, how to get on my list. If you go to the tinyurl.com/money checklist, it's all one word, no spaces, tinyurl.com/money checklist, and that'll give you, that list is not having to do with the sacred money archetypes, but it's all practical and mindset steps that you need to take at each stage of your business. So that'll give you something to look at and get going with immediately.
Right. Okay. And I think we have time for just one quick question.
Sure.
So I'm just going to read it quickly. It's from Lori. She says, thank you. I've been following you for some time and considering LEAP with a capital L.
Yes.
I have built a great business about 50K, want to take it to the next level. However, based on what you teach, on some level I think I need to redo my entire business. Eek! I'm too large and not niche focused enough, perhaps. I've already done so much of what you already teach. Any comments? And thank you.
Sure. Definitely get your ticket to LEAP. You can go to leaplive.com, and if you get your ticket now, it's a really awesome savings, and there's a great bonus in there with training calls with me that start before the live event. My intention is that everybody coming to the event come already having made some money. You know, I want you to, I'm here to help you guys make money. And so we created a bonus to help you do that even before the event. So I hope you will come to the event. I think that you might have to redo a lot of your business, but don't let the eek stop you, okay? Don't do that. Doesn't mean you have to throw everything out, but I can tell if you have a successful, steady $50,000 a year business, you have a lot going on for you there that you're not taking advantage of, because it's really hard to see for ourselves what our opportunities are. It's very tough. We have those blind spots for ourselves. But if you have a nice, steady little business going there, that tells me you have a tremendous opportunity to tweak some things. So instead of an eek, we would look at the tweak, okay? Right. And tweak some things, help you with your fees, help you specialize, and I think then that's going, and streamline your income stream so that you're freeing up some of your time, because you need to probably move into an area of creating more leverage, would be my guess. Yeah, without knowing any details, that's my guess, is that you have some leverage opportunities that need to start happening, and that's when your income can really pop.
Yeah. Yes, exciting. Sounds like it. Now, I just wanted to add one more question. You had mentioned something about the LEAP program. What was the link to that, or how do people?
Sure. Yes, absolutely. It's leaplive.com, and this is a 3-day live workshop with me this coming April. And it's in beautiful Phoenix, Arizona, so it's easy to get to. And this is primarily for coaches. Sometimes we have people who aren't coaches there, but it's really 90% of the audience are coaches who are either new to coaching or existing coaches, or who are thinking of adding coaching to their business. And it's focused on you making a leap forward with your coaching, empowering your offers, empowering your pricing, and empowering your discovery sessions. And then there's a bonus premiere day that's Speak to Get Clients Now, where I'm going to teach that entire day how to speak to audiences of any size, even groups of 5 people, and walk away having made money, even not being paid as a speaker. There's very simple things to do that if you follow them, I'm known for systems and strategies, and if you follow my systems, you will make money. So go to leaplive.com, check it out. Add on the Premier bonus day. It's so well worth it. It's really well worth it. It's just a few dollars more. So.
Awesome. Well, Kendall, thank you so much. It's on the hour, 1 o'clock Pacific time where I am. Thank you so much for all of the information you've provided for us. Tremendous value in that. I've given links as we went along to your program.
Well, thank you.
And
thank you. And I just so appreciate Practice-Based Solutions. I was honored to be your kickoff keynote for this series, and I just love Practice Pay. I've been a client for 11 years, I think it is, and so thank you for inviting me.
Well, on behalf of Practice Pay Solutions and Empower Consulting Group, I want to thank you again and hope that everyone has a fabulous day. Thank you so much.
Bye. Okay. Thank you.
Bye-bye.